It's just been like consistent, like 10K above months.
Downloaded it, I checked the date, July of 2021, and then I left my job in September of 2021.
Since then, I've sold websites, I've pivoted my business, I'm no longer doing social media management.
What has been like your highest month?
13K.
It has literally changed my life.
When you were designing on WordPress, were you charging way less? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, way less. I think my first WordPress was like $500.
$500 for a WordPress site versus like up to $5,000 for a show it site.
All right, welcome to the channel, you guys. I am Willow Kai. Today we have Becca Luna next to me and the wonderful Nina, who is an amazing web and brand designer, former social media manager turned mentor, helping military-owned and operated businesses with their web presence. Nina, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
We're so excited. Okay, so obviously that was a pretty good intro and your title and everything. And I don't even think that I knew that fully. And so I'm so intrigued about your specific niche and like how you got involved in that. And so if you want to just fill us in on a little bit of who you are and what has your journey looked like to get to this point.
Yeah, so I'm Nina. I am a military spouse actually. And so when I first entered the space, it was really because my husband got orders to Germany, which is where I live now. And because I'm a dual citizen here, I'm half German. And I grew up here for part of my life as well. So I have a German passport, all those things. And I was applying for jobs on the American, I guess, military base I was going to work in childcare. That's what I did before this. And because I'm a dual citizen, apparently there's a law that doesn't allow you to do that. I would have to get a job in the economy. I speak German, not well enough to actually hold a business conversation with someone, right? So I was like, we're not set up to be a one income household over here. We're definitely dual income household. And I really just had to buckle down. I always wanted to start a business, but I was like, let's get creative because I need to find a way to make some money. I need a job of some sort. And then I came across Willow and a couple other people in the online space that were doing virtual assisting, Pinterest management. It came across my TikTok and it took me a full month to decide if I was going to invest in this masterclass on becoming a virtual assistant, and the scariest $200 I ever spent in my entire life. But yeah, so I went into this masterclass and I started my journey as a virtual assistant. But I feel like I answered that question. After that, I kind of pivoted into social media management, and that's where I really was okay, I'm good at this, but I never really was passionate about either of those things. I was really more on the strategy and marketing side of things. I was always learning things. And so after about a year, a little under a year into me doing this, I booked out in 48 hours, forgot to mention that actually, with my social media management business. And thanks. But yeah, and I was really more into, like I said, the strategy portion of things. And so I was like, you know what, I was really scared to start coaching and mentoring. What was that? But I did it. I hired a mindset coach and a business coach as well. I started working with Willow, and it was really more geared towards coaching business. I had a more general audience. I wanted to work with online service providers. But I got burnt out really quickly. It's kind of the ugly side of things. I was taking client calls all the time. I felt like some of them were turning into more of therapy sessions with them sometimes. And it was kind of, that piece of it was burning me out, but also just that kind of space. I was in this really weird, cliquey space of coaches. I don't know. And yeah, so that's why I kind of behind the scenes built what is now Blohm Social Co. Really long-winded answer to this. But I was agency model sounds really good. It allowed me to form a team, be able to take some time, step back, create some passive income for myself. And now we're here.
I love that. I love that. So where did web design come into play, or when did that kind of become?
So you actually were selling, it was I can't remember, I wrote it down earlier. It was designing a custom website. It was a little video that you did. And I saw it because I purchased actually one of your templates, the Freedom Seeker template, and I was playing around with it and I was like, this is cool. I kind of want to mess around with Show It and see what this is. But I never really thought of myself as a creative person. So at first, like designing websites for other people was like the scariest idea ever. But I started playing around with it. I was like, oh, I think I'm kind of good at this. Maybe I'll just like revamp my website. It's a good skill to have, add it onto the back burner. But yeah, then I got the like wireframe that you included with that. And I started to kind of, I guess what I would now call create like little templates, little landing pages. And when I actually hired my second team member, Kristen, she was a graphic designer and she like loved playing around with some of the things that I did. And I was like, maybe this is something that we can add in as like a VIP day into the agency. And then I was like all in and I bought all of your courses at the same time. So
I love that. Wow. Okay. So what does your business look like now? What do you offer?
So we still offer done for you social media management. Will and I kind of put our heads together and we created a brand management package. So not only do we do social media management inside that package, we do email marketing, we create landing pages, we create courses, all kinds of things inside of that package. And then we have website in a day. I'm working on a template shop behind the scenes right now. And then I'm thinking of creating like a website in a week and a like landing page, like just creating a landing page, VIP day for that as well. But that is pretty much all we offer.
I love that so much. Okay, so it's really interesting because a lot of people obviously pivot from, well, maybe not obvious, but a lot of people pivot from virtual assistant or social media management to web design. And I think that a lot of people think that they have to drop that in order to become a web designer. And I'm always like, no, you can like phase it out. Like if you enjoy being a virtual assistant or you enjoy being a social media manager, you don't have to just be all in on one thing. You can be a web designer and offer a day rate and do this. So it's really fascinating that you clearly have done it and been successful with it. So how has it been juggling those two parts in your business? Is it hard? Is it difficult? Or is it just like super easy because you love it?
So it was something at first. I was like, everyone tells you you need to niche down and do either niche your services or niche your like audience that you're talking to. And I think because I'm in such a niche audience, it might be easier because people within like the military community are always looking for that person that like, okay, I need you to do this, but can you do all these other things for me too? And so that's how it kind of all plays out. So it works out for me in that sense. But overall, I never really wanted to let the social media side of things go. My first team member, I hired her. I kind of like, put all of my knowledge into her. And it's a service that everyone, I guess, in that community that is a business owner is looking for someone to handle their socials. So it kind of turns into more of an entry level like offer. People start off with social media management. They kind of like move into the brand management. And then they're like, okay, I need to like upgrade my website. And they usually ask me if I know someone. So now I'm that someone.
You're like, yeah, I actually do know someone.
Yeah, so it's been pretty easy balancing it for me. I also have a team, which is another thing. I think if you're like a solopreneur, it might be a little bit more difficult to like really more like switch on and off of the different things that you're doing. But for my model, it's pretty easy to balance.
Yeah, I love that. So you do website in a days currently for clients.
Yes.
So with your team, because I get asked this all the time, like, what does it look like to potentially outsource this or have someone on your team? Could you fill us in at all about how it looks like for you to book a client for a website in a day, and then how that looks like with your team, who does it, who executes it, all the things?
So we spent a lot of time before I actually was like bold enough to like launch website in a day. I was trying to figure out how I can have my team help me with it as well. I don't really consider myself to be the most like creative person, especially when it comes to like the brand stuff, creating the logo, things like that. And so my team member, Kristen, is like, that is her thing. She's a graphic designer. She went to school for it. So what I do is, they fill out the application, they then fill out the brand questionnaire, they move through all these steps. And once the brand questionnaire is filled out, I will send that to Kristen to do her thing, do the logo, do the branding. She'll send me a couple of different versions of it, and then I can send that to the client. Another thing we've kind of been working on is I'll create the frame of the actual website, so the design layout essentially. And then Kristen will go in and like work her magic with like different elements. She'll add the colors and do all of that stuff. So it's kind of a two-man job right now. I'm hoping to integrate my other team member, Danielle, to do some of the copy. But yeah.
I love that. I love that so much, honestly, that you are acknowledging what you're not great at, but you're really zoning in on what you are and hiring out those things that like someone loves those things. Like, I feel like people always will almost have that stop them. Like, oh, I really want to do this, but I'm not great at it. But instead of just being like, okay, someone out there actually loves this, and let me bring them into my world and my business. And, I could bring them on full time and have an agency, or even just do it where like your client doesn't even know. There's so many possibilities, but I do love that you wanted to offer this and you made it work, and now have like a great team that is very collaborative, because then I do feel like the client gets the best of both worlds. It's not like you're just trying to do it all. You really are hiring someone who like loves to do that part, and it's ultimately going to be better for the client.
Yeah.
Yes. And she was like, I literally, right before this interview, literally just booked a website in a day client actually. And I texted Kristen and I was like, hey, we got another website today. She's like, yes, I'm so excited. I'll be at your house at 8. So
oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, the dynamic has been really awesome.
I love that.
Do you do your website in a days with her in person?
Yeah, so she comes in, I'm on this computer, I have a desk over here, she sits down and I'm like, okay, brand questionnaires in, click up, grab it, do your thing. And then she'll kind of be like, is this the vibe? And we'll kind of like play off of each other as well. So it's super fun.
What has it been like bringing your online business a little bit not online and kind of in person?
It has been awesome, and I'm hoping, well, it's still from my home. So I don't know that I can necessarily like pull my whole team into my house every day, but in the military community, a lot of military spouses are kind of facing the same thing I am, especially when it comes to employment, and they have so much talent. And so it's been really fun to bring someone that hasn't ever worked in the online space, kind of tell them, I put like an offer out in one of our like Facebook groups, and I was like, hey, if anyone's good at this, let me know, and I have a job offer for you. And it's been really, really interesting to see like how going from like a corporate, I guess, setting for her, and then coming here and being able to like literally just be who she is, not have to like, I don't know, I guess conform to like the corporate professionality, has been really awesome. But I hope to, in the future, like only employ military spouses. I don't know if that's like allowed or legal. But yeah, it's been really awesome to kind of have that extra person and extra brain like in the room with you, not have to wait to get on a Zoom call with someone. Yeah, that's overall.
That's
awesome. Love that.
What have been, as you've grown, and especially as you have pivoted in between offers, services, even like audience a little bit as well, what have been the biggest challenges?
A lot of the challenges really come from me like having to show up on social, and I think you guys did a workshop. That's something that's really draining for me, and I have also been able to outsource that because I have a whole team. So doing like story takeovers with them has been super helpful for that. But I also am like a really anxious person, so like if I can't get up in the morning and do that, I can have Kristen do it, and she's in the same setting as me. She can record me, she can do a day in the life. But yeah, I would say really showing up, but also I think it's also part of that like balance. When you pivot into something new, it gets really hard to like, especially with the new services that we're offering, it got really hard to like balance all of that. And that's where my team comes in. But those have been work-life balance essentially has been a pretty big struggle for me as well.
It's never ending.
It really is. I feel like as business gets bigger and better,
yeah,
it gets harder and harder, which is just like
evolves.
It's like part of the evolution. And I think honestly, like for myself, at least in the last year, that has been like one of the biggest mindset shifts I feel like I've had to come to, is that isn't going to stop, and that it's actually getting started.
And it's like the more money you make, the more things you offer, the more offers you come out with. It's like, oh, there's so much work. What do I
I
get to sleep?
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, hire a team.
For real.
Hire a team, bring them in person, all of the things.
So you mentioned money, and it's okay to bring up money with you. So what has it looked like in your business? Well, first of all, how long has it been from the start of starting your business? Like
almost 3 years. So
Okay.
yeah, we're coming up on 3 years.
I love that.
Were you in the first round of Jessica's mastermind when that happened?
Yeah.
So with
Yep.
Wow. OG.
Yeah.
OG. So how long has it been since transitioning to being a web designer or offering web design services?
Probably not even like 5 months. I wouldn't even
Oh,
say
wow.
it's been that
Okay.
long. I think it's like the first time you rolled out the bundles. So whenever that was is when
Okay.
we
Yeah.
got started with it.
Damn. Okay. So then what has been like your highest month that you've made so far from web design services?
A little over, for web design services only, or for like overall?
In your agency since like rolling out those offers?
Oh, 13K.
That's dope.
That is.
Yes.
Is that consistent for you? Like since you've been growing your agency, what does that look like?
Kind of. So it just depends on how much capacity I have. We took a lot of vacation over like the Christmas holiday and stuff, but this last month has been a little bit less, but I'm actually for February projecting an $18,000 month. So it's getting consistent. I don't think that it'll really like regress that much. We also like raise prices and things like that, but so which is crazy to say out loud, but
Congratulations.
For
I mean, that's a
real.
huge accomplishment. I think that sometimes it's easy to like always be looking at what other people on social media are doing. And I even remember back when I was like hitting goals, I would always be like, oh my God, I'm so stoked. I'm going to have a $15,000 month. And then I would compare it to someone else and be like, oh, is that even like a lot? But it is a lot. Like when you really compare it to the average person, it's such a huge accomplishment. So we're super proud of you for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, and like I said, it's so crazy to like even think about that, but that comparison like is something I also like to go back to some of my struggles was something that I struggled with a lot, especially when you're consuming the social media from like everyone else in the space. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I want to do that next. It's like you can never rest.
Yeah. I feel like this is even so off topic of actually like what we're talking about, but it's not. I feel like with you being a military spouse and having that be really your whole world, like it's who you're working with and it's who you're serving, it really is so inspiring because just from what I would probably expect is that that's not traditional and that it's probably not typical for even maybe the wife to even bring in an income or like with them traveling so much, they're like a stay-at-home mom. And that is just like, am I correct on that?
Yes,
it's like more so. Yeah. So what you're doing, even just by, obviously you're benefiting your life, right? You're like having huge income months, you're helping your family. It's like so incredible, but you're also being so inspirational to people that you're working with, people that you're hiring, and also just like the community. It's going to be a ripple effect. And you're going to be able to really show women that they can be a boss and they can go do this and start a business, even if they've never fucking heard of it before. Like it's just evolution. And it really is so incredible that you get to be that person to so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think another thing too, is like, if they are working, they usually do have a business, but I think having an online business and like you said, doing what I do is pretty, I guess, unique in this community specifically. But telling someone that might not necessarily feel passionate about selling a product or opening an Etsy shop. I've seen a lot of that recently where people are like, what are you doing? Like, how are you making this much money at social events and stuff? What do you do? Then you have to explain like 10,000 things. Yeah. So I definitely hope to see more of it. I also see like some of the military spouse service providers in this space don't work with other military, like it doesn't look like that's something that they're doing. So it's been interesting to kind of like, oh, you're in Texas at this military base. and like find these people in my community as well. But yeah, I hope that it does grow, because I don't think that there's a lot of like military representation in the creative space at all, actually. So I think it's pretty cool that I get to kind of like start that ripple effect, like you said.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the not so sexy things, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Are there things that come to mind when you think about like the hardships, the struggles, like anything that's been like, fuck, like this has been such a thing that I've had to overcome, anything that comes to mind?
I would definitely, I think a lot of people would resonate with this, but like when things are inconsistent, income's inconsistent, engagement, whatever it is, having that like, okay, I just don't want to do this anymore, or like taking that like huge step back. And like I would personally, I don't know if you guys have went through this or anything, like I would take months off of social media. I was like, oh, this isn't working, I'll try to find other things. I'd be applying for social media management jobs, like things like that happening. That has definitely been a huge struggle, but every time I've been in one of those things, the next month or the month after that, it's like triple, you know what I mean? So that's definitely been something. And also just like mindset around running a business, really, really struggling with, and it's to this day, I think it's still something that like I go through, is like that, I don't know that it's necessarily imposter syndrome, but like constantly feeling like you have like something to prove online, especially when you're educating on something, especially on TikTok, like getting through that like mindset of like, not everyone's going to believe you. Not everybody's going to like, I guess like resonate with the things that you're saying. Especially when you build even just a little bit of a platform anywhere, there's always going to be something like that. So I think that's definitely been a big struggle for me.
I feel that.
We definitely that.
Yeah, the comparison like aspect of being in the online space and everyone being so front facing, and I feel like you kind of have to ebb and flow. And I think it's been interesting to kind of watch Becca and I do it differently, but ebb and flow in taking value out of watching other people's content, but then also like noticing that it isn't of value to you anymore to be watching it, because then it can lead to like anxiety or comparing. And like, I really noticed that about myself. And I think that it's like a constant thing to learn and to evolve with.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when people on TikTok come at you. I find that the people that are actually not in the online space are the ones that do come at you and like hate on video, whatever. And it's just because their minds have not even been expanded to what's possible. So I feel like I find that I just like send compassion. And I'm like, well, I hope that one day you'll figure this out, because I know that it'll change your life.
No, and TikTok is brutal, but I've even had someone like, I did like a day in the life or whatever. It was a dancing video in my kitchen, and I was talking, I had the tech stuff about like how much money you can make as a social media manager, as an online service provider, and all the comments were like, why isn't your house better if you're making this much money? I'm like, well, I'm in military housing. My house is free right now. Like, leave me alone. There's so many.
I used to get that when I would do videos of me like just doing the same style videos, and I'd be like no shoes or socks on in my house, and it would be people commenting like, you're too poor for socks, can't this is all I, and I'm like, I obviously am lying, and
I don't own a single pair of shoes. You're right. You want me.
Well, but you can go as far as to like show bank statements, show your Stripe like dashboard. And I probably
people are like, oh, you like photoshopped that. The people that it's needing to reach will reach it. And I think that that's like most important thing to remember when we're ever putting social media content out there, that like, if you get big enough, there will be haters. And once there's haters, it just means that you got big enough. You know what I mean? Like,
and now I thank them, because like you're pushing me in the algorithm. Like, thank you. I made someone mad, so that means this video is going to do well.
Appreciate it.
The best is when like maybe the comments get a little fired up and people start arguing with each other, and then you're like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna even like put some fucking gas on the fire and like try to get this going a little bit.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you post a little petty comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also been something I guess that's been kind of hard for sure, is like not responding to these people, or like not being like having to like pull out a well, not that I have pay stubs anymore,
Yeah.
but pull out my full bank statement, how much I spent, how much I earned. This is my bank. I don't know. Like I said, it's constantly feeling like you have to like prove something.
Yeah. See, but I'm on the side of like, I love a good clap back. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even think of that it needs to be like, oh, I'm proving this. I think that it will just further the education to the people that need to see it. So if you need to like pull out a bank statement just as a clap back, it can almost be like an FU, but you're
Yeah.
still showing what you've done. Like it can be a win-win.
promotional
Yeah.
still, yeah. So
Exactly.
I know that when we chatted last, we were talking about potentially bridging more into templates, trying to build passive income as kind of a form of sustainable income, because I wanted to touch on that as well, because I think that being a service provider and exchanging funds for just a service can it can lead to a little bit of an ebb and flow in terms of how much you're wanting to be designing, how much you're selling and bringing on new clients, all of that. And so I'm a huge fan of bringing in products that can lend to the sustainability, especially if it's even just 30 to 50% of your monthly income. Me and you talked,
Especially if it's.
well, yes, especially. We talked about launching into military focused templates, things of that sort, web templates, all of that jazz. Will you tell us a little bit about kind of just your ideas of where that's going to go?
Yeah, which I'm super excited about. So when Willow and I talked, we kind of like were looking, when you look at Pinterest, or if you look up like website templates, show it website templates, WordPress, Squarespace, whatever it is, you like never see the military community represented in that at all whatsoever. And obviously like we're all regular people, but I definitely think that's a huge gap to fill. I think that the community wants to be seen, like they want to see themselves in these different pieces of, social media, and websites and stuff like that. So it's definitely a market that I'm tapping into. We've got like 4 templates done on the back burner, like fully like customized to fit like something that a military or veteran or military spouse owned business would see themselves in. And so that's been really cool to create behind the scenes. And because my agency is military spouse owned and operated, it's been super cool to have each person kind of weigh in and be like on like the creative end of things. And oh, that would be really cool for this like veteran owned podcast, or you know what I mean? So that's been really fun creating that. We're probably going to launch here within the next month or 2. I just haven't decided how many templates I want to launch the shop with yet. And we're working on some add-ons as well.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, that's going to be so exciting. And I do love the opportunities of being able to be the first of its kind. I do think that that's so powerful. Like if you can get in there and almost create this demand and niche, like you really can be the person, the go-to person for that, which I just think is like the best case scenario.
100%.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting too, because my niche has so many different like businesses that fall under it, like tattoo shops, different things. It's been super cool to be able to like create website templates for different industries as well, which is something that like I didn't think I was really going to tap into. But it's been really fun to get creative with that as well. So
I love that. Do you know how much you're going to price your website templates at?
Yeah, well, I think it's going to range between, I have one that's like, it's like more of a like 2-page thing. It's going to be for like there's a lot of like UGC and like influencer style creators that don't necessarily need like 4 or 5-page websites. So stuff like that will probably be around like $197, but I've got one that I'm like, this is like $600, $700. So it'll definitely range between that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, even just the opportunity that you're going to like unlock in your business once you have these up, because obviously you're selling things like day rates and social media management and stuff. But as soon as you launch these and you have like a $700 product on your site and you get that Stripe thing or whatever, like you don't have to do anything. It's completely passive. Like it truly is the most incredible feeling. And I'm so excited that you're so close to feeling that, because it really does feel life-changing, that like first one
First sale.
income that you get, and you're like, holy shit, this is my life. Like, what?
And in
Yeah.
that same way, also like you launching something that it will only be $197 will be like the cheapest offer that you have in your business.
Yeah.
So
You open a lot of
you
doors.
open up a whole new audience in terms of affordability as well. So it really hits like the nail on the head multiple different times.
Was
Yes.
That was me hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah. No, and it's been really cool too, because I've had like digital products go out, but like they're super low ticket usually, and so I think it would be really cool to see that, like, you know, $500, $700 coming in passively. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, what is to come other than the template shop? Any other big exciting things that are coming in 2023? Yes.
So, per our last discussion, Willow, I am working on creating like a scholarship kind of thing. Don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but for military-owned businesses to give them a year's worth of our services for completely free.
Wow.
So I want to give back to the community. There's a lot of people that are like starting at businesses. They don't know how to do it, to give them the strategy side of things and a full year of brand management. I don't know if I said that. But yeah, so I'm super excited. That's like,
or something like that.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
In the form of like a giveaway or something like that.
Yeah. I'm still kind of working out how I want that like application. I don't know if I want it to be an application process or if I want it to be more of like a giveaway style thing. I really want to give it to someone who is like has a story. There's so many like veterans, active duty military, that have like amazing stories about what they do for us, and to be able to give back to that and help them like grow and scale a business, regardless of what it is something that I'm really passionate about and I really want to do. So I'm super excited about that.
That is amazing to give back like that. That truly is like what it's all about. I am obsessed with that. Yeah. Okay. So to finish it off, I want to know, what is like one of your favorite things about running your online business?
Ooh.
If you could do one thing.
I'm really loving web design.
Okay.
I think I think that's what I want to go with. There's so many things that I love.
That's a good one.
I'm really loving that.
Hey guys, I did not pay her to say that, I swear.
I'm really loving it. Yeah, no, it's been really cool to be able to, like I said, I never really considered myself a creative person, but I always wanted to be, especially seeing like people have so much passion for what they do, web designers, graphic designers, things like that. And I was like, this looks so fun and you can make money doing it. And so now that I've gotten past that point and I'm actually doing it, I think that's been, this year especially, has been one of like my most favorite things. So I think web design does take the cake. Even though.
Can I ask one follow-up question to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is going to be a trend on our interviews.
Okay.
One of the things I'm known for is once we're done, I have a bunch of questions for people.
So it's okay.
It's true. He's like one.
My one follow-up question is that you have said a couple of times today, and while we've talked in the past, that you weren't a creative person.
Oh, yeah.
And my question is, do you think that buying the web design courses and kind of dabbling your feet in it is maybe the first time that you're allowing yourself or giving yourself the permission to be a creative person?
Yeah. And I think when you tell yourself you're not creative, I think you're just scared that you're bad at it. And because I mean, that's just for me.
I agree.
I
That's the same thing about myself.
Yeah, or even like something too was like learning show it. I was like, oh, I can't do this. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's just an excuse that I just personally told myself to, you know, if I'm bad at this, like I was never a creative person anyways. But I think I know myself really well. So I invested in every single course Becca has, because I was like, I have to be all in. I can't just buy one piece and kind of like go little by little, or else I'm not going to do it. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now that you've got it all, you're playing with the library. You
Yes.
have got design your day rate. I feel like you've got a lot of tools to your advantage now. And honestly, I can't wait to see what it all kind of turns into.
Yeah. Specifically design your day rate too, having all of those like things in place with an agency model has been super helpful, because I'm delegating. I'm like, okay, well, I have all the steps. these are going to Kristen, these are going to this team member, these I will take on. So that has been really beneficial for our like model as well.
Yay.
That's awesome.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome. So before we let you go, where can people get to know you, hang out, become besties with you in the online world?
Yeah, so mainly on Instagram at Blohm Social Co. I'm also on TikTok. It's at Nina B Virtually, which is also our website, ninabvirtually.com. And my podcast, the Biz Booster podcast, somehow was like in the top 20% most shared podcast of 2022, which was really interesting and scary. Yeah, globally too, which was really scary. So you can hang out with me there. It's called the Biz Booster podcast.
Wait, what is it called?
The Biz Booster podcast.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. We don't even have that many episodes either. It was on my what they call it, the Spotify Wrapped. It blew my mind. So.
Super cool. Well, congrats. And thank you so much for meeting with us today and
opening up about the journey and being real with us. And I know that your story will inspire so many people. So I'm just so thankful that we were able to do this and learn more about you and show you to our world.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was really nice also meeting you.
Same. All right. Well, with that, everyone go follow her and thank you so much.
See you guys soon.
Bye.